the likes of Prince Harry.
Prime Minister today, we've had his strongest condemnation and criticism of President Trump yet. Some will say.
In the last few hours, the Duke of Sussex has stepped directly into one of the most sensitive political and diplomatic debates of recent times, releasing a carefully worded but emotionally charged statement that has already sent shockwaves through Westminster, Washington, and beyond. Prince Harry's intervention comes at a moment of heightened tension, following controversial remarks made by former U.S. President Donald Trump regarding NATO's involvement in Afghanistan, remarks that senior British politicians have described as insulting, appalling, and deeply disrespectful to the sacrifices made by Allied forces. Speaking just minutes ago, Prince Harry reminded the world of a moment that reshaped global security forever. In 2001, he said, NATO invoked Article 5 for the first and only time in its history. Those words carry extraordinary weight. Article 5, the cornerstone of the NATO alliance, states that an attack on one member is considered an attack on all. It was triggered in the aftermath of the September 11th terrorist attacks on the United States, compelling allied nations to stand shoulder to shoulder with America in Afghanistan. Allies answered that call, Prince Harry said. The Duke of Sussex, who served 2 tours in Afghanistan as a British Army officer, did not speak as a distant royal observer. He spoke as a veteran. As someone who lived the war from the ground up. I served there, he said. I made lifelong friends there, and I lost friends there. Harry went on to highlight the human cost of the conflict, a cost, he says, must never be reduced to political talking points or revisionist history. The United Kingdom alone had 457 service personnel killed. He noted, that figure has been repeated throughout the day by the Prime Minister, senior ministers, and military leaders. But coming from Prince Harry, it carried an unmistakably personal tone. Thousands of lives were changed forever, he continued, mothers and fathers buried, sons and daughters, children left without a parent, families left carrying the cost. Those words struck a chord across Britain, particularly among military families and veterans who say they feel increasingly forgotten as political narratives shift. Prince Harry's statement did not name Donald Trump directly, a notable choice, but the message was unmistakable. These sacrifices deserve to be spoken about truthfully and with respect, he said, as we remain united and loyal to the defense of diplomacy and peace. It was a rare but powerful moment, a senior royal, albeit a non-working one, publicly weighing in on a geopolitical controversy tied directly to the war he once fought, and it didn't happen in isolation. Earlier today, Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer delivered his strongest condemnation yet of Donald Trump's comments, describing them as insulting and appalling. In a speech that some commentators described as a Love Actually moment, blunt, emotional, and unapologetic, Starmer made it clear that Britain would not accept any attempt to diminish the sacrifices of its armed forces. Those who served in Afghanistan did so with honor. The Prime Minister said, they deserve respect, not revisionism. Across the political spectrum, there has been rare unity. Senior Conservatives, Labour MPs, Liberal Democrats, and former military chiefs have all echoed the same message. Whatever one's view on the Afghanistan war itself, the bravery and sacrifice of those who served must never be questioned. From Westminster, our correspondent John Craig reports that Prince Harry's statement has added an entirely new dimension to the debate. Now, in the last few minutes, Craig explains, we've seen a member of the royal family, at least one, enter this controversy. He points out that while Harry's statement spans just 3 paragraphs, every line appears deliberately crafted. He doesn't mention Donald Trump by name, Craig notes, but he reinforces exactly what politicians have been saying today, that NATO's involvement in Afghanistan was not optional, it was an obligation. Craig goes on to explain the significance of Article 5 for viewers. What Article 5 says is simple but powerful, he explains. If one NATO country is attacked, all NATO countries come to that country's aid. The only time it's ever been triggered was after 9/11 to support the United States. That historical fact has become central to today's controversy, particularly after Trump appeared to suggest that NATO allies exploited America or failed to pull their weight, a claim fiercely disputed by military records. Britain's contribution alone involved more than 150,000 personnel over 2 decades, with thousands wounded and hundreds killed, and it's those losses that Prince Harry chose to center. Throughout the day, voices from the armed forces community have also spoken out. Veterans described losing limbs to landmines and improvised explosive devices. Families of the fallen spoke of decades of grief, trauma, and silence. Parents described burying children who believed they were serving not just Britain, but a shared global mission. One former soldier told us, we didn't go to Afghanistan for politics. We went because our allies were attacked. We went because we were told it mattered. Prince Harry's words echoed that sentiment. His personal connection to the war, combined with his global profile, has ensured that his statement is now being reported far beyond the UK. In the United States, several media outlets have noted the unusual nature of a British royal publicly reinforcing NATO's defense of America at a time when parts of U.S. politics appear increasingly skeptical of the alliance. Royal watchers, meanwhile, say the statement walks a careful line. While the royal family traditionally avoids political controversy, Harry's position as a private citizen and a veteran gives him greater freedom to speak. Still, it raises questions. Is this a one-off intervention, or does it signal a more active role for Prince Harry as a global advocate for veterans and military truth? For now, Buckingham Palace has made no comment, and there is no indication that King Charles or other senior royals will follow Harry into the debate. But the impact is already clear. In a political environment often dominated by slogans and soundbites, Prince Harry chose memory, sacrifice, and respect as debates rage on about NATO, Afghanistan, and the future of Western alliances. One message has cut through the noise today. History matters, service matters, and the cost of war must never be rewritten. For the families who buried loved ones, for the soldiers who returned home changed forever, and for a generation shaped by a war that began with unity and ended in uncertainty. Today's words were more than a statement, they were a reminder.